Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play the Kingdom of Klein for the BBC Micro. In the last video, we went back to the beach. We made a huge sandcastle. Well, we made a small one first, and then we made it big, and then also made it real, and then we were able to go in it and do things inside. And we also went into the Mobius Ravine. We also saw some weird rooms that have shapes and numbers in them, and when we drop certain things in certain rooms, those things disappear. We have to do those things if we want to face the witch and ultimately beat her once and for all. As a matter of fact, I do still have the thing in the scroll. Matter of fact, now that I remember it, I might as well read it again. To carry out your task, you must find the 5 Platonic Solids. They will lead you to the witch's cavern, where their mystical properties will be required to defeat the Wicked Witch of the Mountain and recover the mysterious Klein bottle. We've seen some of them already. We've seen the cube. We've seen the dodecahedron. We've seen the octahedron. And we've also seen the icosahedron, which we just picked up before we ended the last video. So, now that we have the icosahedron, we need to start going back to the Mobius Ravine, which means, you guessed it, we got to do backtracking. So, let me pull up my map right here. We're going to have to leave because we're still in the small storeroom. And from here, we keep going west until we cannot go west anymore. And we cannot go west anymore after going west 3 times. And now, we need to go north until we see the L again. So, 5, 6 times. Now here, this is crucial. We do have to do this. We go west twice. We go north again. And we eventually go west after going west 2 times, then north, and we find the recess in the rock. We do need to enter the recess in the rock and drop the spells here. The box dematerializes as soon as you put it down. Once again, this is how we take our spells to the next area. Now let's go west again, and this time we need to jump back into the pool, because again, backtracking. We're back in the water. We need to go south, east, south, west, and then up. We are now back on the edge of the pool where we dropped the needle earlier because I realized we didn't need it. And from here, we need to go, actually we need to go west, not east, because the game tells us to. We need to go west until we reach the G, so west twice, then 1, 2, 3, 4 screens north. We're now at the base of the cliff. We're going to go east 1, 2, 3 times, and we're at the other recess. Enter the recess, and your box of spells is right here. Get your spells again. You're going to need them. And from here, we need to exit first. Then we can go east. We keep going east until we reach the bottom of the staircase cut into the cliffs. And once again, we need to go up 8 times. And this is kind of one way. You don't want to go down, because if you do, well, if you do it after you reach the top, you'll die. Now let's go west one more time. Oh, we have to go north. I'm thinking a little too far ahead as I'm looking at my map and seeing where I need to go. Once we reach the top, we can go north, then west, and then we can open our umbrella and jump. Now let's go ahead and close our umbrella ahead of time, so that way we don't have a thing going on. And from here, we need to go east, and then we need to keep going south. I have all of my maps in a weird order here. Well, not exactly weird, but I keep forgetting I have the plains map before I go to the whole cliff beach area where you see the sand lizard and make the sandcastle and everything. So that's why I got a little confused there. Let's go ahead and go east and south 3 times, throw the sand at the sand lizard. We're going to go south again. We want to get the octahedron, but first I want to check my inventory just to be safe. What am I carrying? Okay, we're carrying 6 items. I can go ahead and get the octahedron because I am going to need it. And from here, we need to go south. And then south again. And then south a 3rd time. Once again, we throw our Taurus. We'll be back in the castle. The Taurus will be here, but we're not going to need it anymore. So that brings our inventory, I believe, the 6 items. Yes, it does. And from here, we need to keep going east to the end of the quarter, which means we need to go east 8 times. Once again, ignore the cracked eggshell. And from here, we're going to go south along the ravine. Once again, don't go south unless the game explicitly tells you that you can, because you will die if you do not heed that warning. Now, we're going to go east 16 times, because that's how we reached those weird rooms that we saw in the last video, where we dropped certain things in certain rooms and they disappeared and whatnot. We've seen the human bones again, so we know that we're close. And here we are, 16 times east. However, you can still keep going east, but I only recommend you do it a 17th time and an 18th time, because the 18th time, you find the last Platonic Solid, which is a tetrahedron. I'm glad that I still had that notepad in front of me telling me about the 5 Platonic Solids, the both halves of the scroll from early in the game. Because the cube, the dodecahedron, the octahedron, the tetrahedron, and the icosahedron, that's what the scroll's referring to. Those are the 5 Platonic Solids. And if you remember the scroll, what it said, it does say it takes you to the witch. We use these things, we're going to face the witch. Anyway, let's get the tetrahedron. And I believe... Okay, we have 7 items. Let's go west twice, and then we can go to the rock opening in the rock in the south. All right. Now, we are back in the 20 room. If you go look up at what an icosahedron is, it's a polyhedron with 20 faces, and each face is a triangle. So those two things, as explained in the last video, the shape and the number is a very, I guess you could say, I'm trying to think of the word here. It's a rather shorthand way of explaining what the shapes look like. I mean, when you use the look command, you only get the look at the place you're currently in. You can't look at items like in King's Quest or anything like that. So you would have had like a book about geometric shapes on hand if you were playing this back in the day. Now, we have the internet these days. That's how you're watching this Let's Play and how I'm looking anything up so I can explain stuff when necessary. But back then, internet wasn't a thing. So you just kind of had to do weird things and see what stuck. So, triangle-shaped thing with 20 faces is an icosahedron. Drop icosahedron in this room. The solid pulses as you put it down, then vanishes completely. Good to know. We are going to go to the south until we enter room 4. Now, triangle is the number 4. Okay, believe it or not, a tetrahedron I unintentionally mentioned in the last video. Well, gee, if we had a pyramid, we could drop something in here and we could do stuff. But apparently I was describing the tetrahedron. I didn't know that I was describing the tetrahedron. And a tetrahedron is a kind of pyramid with 4 vertices. They're basically faces. So yeah, there is a pyramid item in this game after all. Sort of. So when you're in the triangle room, the room with the triangle and the number 4, and you have the tetrahedron, you drop the tetrahedron. Now, we need to go south until we go to this room. Well, we go one room south. Inside the triangle is the number 8. The only shape left we have is the octahedron. It is a 3D looking diamond shaped thing with 8 triangle shaped sides. The term is most commonly used to refer to the regular octahedron, a Platonic solid composed of 8 equilateral triangles, 4 of which meet at each vertex. I mean, it makes sense. So, yeah, the Platonic solid. The internet has made this game slightly easier, but only so slightly. It also helps that there's a walkthrough on solutionarchive.com. So now that we're here, we're going to drop the octahedron. And when we drop the 5 Platonic solids in the rooms where we need to drop them, there is a blinding flash. But the game doesn't tell us what we're looking at. Let's look. You hear shrieks of wild laughter. When you look up, you see the witch leaning over a giant cauldron above a burning fire. The cauldron contains a bubbling liquid, probably full of the bones of previous adventures. So, the scroll wasn't lying when it told us that we would be meeting the witch. Well, we have a voodoo doll with a witch's hat on it, and there's a cauldron full of bubbling liquid. Throw doll. Now, before you do this, before you drop the final solid, you do want to make sure that you put the hat on the voodoo doll. That's supposed to look like you, by the way, because the game does hint at that. It does basically say that. I don't know why I said it hinted at it. It basically said it flat out. But if you put the hat on the voodoo doll, it affects the witch instead. If you didn't have the hat on the doll, you're dead. The voodoo doll falls into the fire. The witch bursts into flames and shrieks, "You may have beaten me, but you'll never get the Klein bottle and escape alive!" She fades to ashes. You're in the witch's cavern. There is a boiling cauldron in the center of the room. There appear to be other magical-looking caves to the east. Well, we have no other place to go but east. So that's where we're going to go. You're in the witch's sitting room. A rocking chair stands in the corner of the room, and the floor is littered with books that contain symbols which you don't understand. Probably recipes for adventurer's soup. There is here a witch's broomstick. You want to get the broomstick. You're totally going to need it. And let me check my inventory here real quick. Cool, we just have the magic wand, the spells, and the umbrella. Interesting. Now, the only way to go from here is east. You're in the witch's spell chamber. Various items of magic are scattered about the room. A star is traced on the floor, and there is an opening in the north wall. And we may as well go north and see what's there. You're walking down along a winding path. There is a strange building to the south. Well, that's the building that we just came out of. We had to do that. We had to go here. So, here the only direction is north, then east. There is a tunnel entrance in the distance. And we go south because, again, it's a winding path. Then east. And then north. There is a tunnel entrance nearby. And if you go north again, you are at the entrance to a dark tunnel cut into the rock. An important-looking sign reads, "Every soul who seeks entry dies 3 times initially." What is that supposed to mean? I wonder. We'll have that figured out in the next video. So join me next time where we enter this tunnel. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!